sure it came out okay. Yep, we're going. All right, and I'm going to start talking. So for just a second, I'm going to take us out of the presentation, and actually let me clean up my desktop because I think it'll be easier with what we're doing this time to be navigating some of this in just a little bit, just full screen. But I think I have that cleaned up okay. All righty, so I'm Julene Reed, and I am in Memphis, Tennessee. Let me get rid of this so you can see me. And if you haven't been in one of these team meetings before, I want to tell you, if you find me right now and hover over to the 3 dots, like an ellipses, and click on it, you can pin me. And if you pin me, then I'll stay full screen as will my presentation. And that way you won't get everybody else doing things in the middle of the presentation, and they'll provide a better experience for you. So I want to share that with you. And I am in Memphis, Tennessee, been in education over 25 years. A lot of you have heard this a lot already. And so I am in a cloudy day, some partly sunny, I think, but we've been doing these wonderful sessions, and they're so much fun. I've loved meeting new people. They're very international. I had 458 one the other day, so you never know what's going to happen depending on the topics that pop up. But they've been really awesome, and we're excited to have everybody here. And so I'm going to start the presentation for just a minute and go through some slides that have the agenda as well, which I think will be helpful for you. And then we will jump back into the live view where I'm actually on my desktop. So you'll see both experiences. And let me go here. And that should give it to you. Let me check my second monitor. I think I'm there. All right, so that's kind of small. Let me stop one more time and do it again and see if I can't get it bigger for you. So I think I can. Yeah, we'll make that bigger. Now this should help you a little bit because that was pretty tiny. There you go. That's better. That's why you have the other monitor, because you never know what it'll do. So, like I said, I'm Julene. I've been in education a long time, and today we're talking about accessibility tools with Microsoft. And actually, I think this is more than just accessibility, even though accessibility is extremely important. I think it's also just learning tools for every student and for educators. You know, there are some things here you might find really beneficial for you as well. So it really is learning tools to build an inclusive classroom, and including the accessibility portions as well. So as you know, we're building these out all the time, these sessions. We're only putting like a week at a time up, so don't think they're ending soon. They're going to keep going all summer, so keep coming back to get more to the q.org/Microsoft site. And so this is, you know, what looks like a classroom we used to have, not quite like we have today, but the classrooms of yesterday and hopefully of tomorrow as well. And our goal is really to develop accessible and inclusive learning for everyone, no matter what their styles are. So thinking about that, this is our agenda. So I'm going to go through this little presentation and talk to some of these, but I'm going to pop in and out because we're going to go live too. And I encourage you, when I go live, that you go on and open up that app and find it on your app and play with it a little bit, because that's how I learn, and that will help you as well. And then additionally, I will be happy to send you the link to the presentation. That's not a problem at all. So if you decide you want it, you can let me know at the end of the session. So we're going to be talking about accessibility. I'm going to present some options. We're going to have some live demos and then some share time with questions. And I think just looking for a second at the stats, you know, permanent disabilities are listed here, but there are also things that happen in our classrooms that aren't even permanent. They're just things that learning problems that students struggle with. And so we can use these not only to address, you know, really severe accessibility issues, but also just for learning tools. And thinking that 73% of our classrooms have students with reading levels that span 4 or more grades. And I don't think I probably have to tell a lot of you that already. You already know that from teaching. I teach grad school classes as well as my other classes. And I'm telling you, some of my, don't tell them, some of my master's students are all over the place too. So I'm having to really adjust in that realm. So it's K-12 and higher ed. And then we have IEPs and special ed kids. We have so many ELLs now, so many more than we used to. Students who aren't speaking English as their native language. And it's interesting to see how many different languages. You know, one area I was in, it was Vietnamese. Another area, which was a real surprise, it was a part of Texas. Sometimes it's someone who speaks Arabic. You never know what the biggest community of language students, you know, language learners is in each district or each school, and it just depends on that region and that community. And then you spend a lot of time managing these needs sometimes and helping address the problems that they're having. So thinking about how we can use these tools for struggling readers and learners, and look at things like the accessibility tools and immersive reader and all those learning tools. Look at feedback and assessment and how we can provide that in OneNote and other options as well. And then research and writing support. So we have a new editor coming out that has come out from a lot of us. If not, it will be coming soon, and you can actually apply for the editor early adopter program. And it provides writing support, but it should be showing up any day. And then you have lots of options in Word and in OneNote. So we're going to look at some of those as well. And there are some that are my favorites and some that I don't use as much, but it all depends on what your needs are and what your interests are. One of the things that Microsoft provides is this accessibility checker across Office products. It may not be anything you use now, but every single Office product almost has the accessibility checker. And what this does, it quickly looks at your document and it tells you if you have too many text entries all over this, can be hard for a child to read and understand. If you forgot the alt image description, which not all of us use, but for some people where they have students with vision problems, you put the alt image description in there and it'll guide you through that. So it's a quick check, and I'll show this to you in a little bit on a couple of documents. But I just wanted to give you that information too, that's really available everywhere for you as you do things. So one of my favorite ones is Immersive Reader. And we're going to go live with this in a second. I love, love, love the learning tools with Immersive Reader. And if you haven't used this, it's going to be a big wow for you, because it really adds accessibility. It adds comprehension for people of all ages. And it's just got all kinds of assets. You can change the size of the text, the background colors. You can change the speed and the voice of someone who's talking in Immersive Reader. But look at the right here. You can also do syllabication, nouns, verbs, adjectives, all kinds of parts of speech. So I really do like Immersive Reader. And for the little bitties, the young children, and I'm going to show this to you, you can use the picture dictionary. So if they see a word they don't know, they click on it and it shows a picture of that person or animal. That's also good for some of your ESL students, you know, foreign language differences, that they can actually read something in English and they don't understand it, and then they have that ability. And right here in Teams, and I don't know that I turned this on for you, but I wanted to turn on, let's see if I can find it for you, live captions, because I didn't know if you knew that right here in Teams, you can actually have live captions going on. So as we're working in Teams, we can also be having live captions going on at the same time, which is really nice. So going back to the PowerPoint though, and working through this, I'm going to show you a couple screens, and then we're going to hop out for a minute and come back. So this is the Learning Tool website, and if you haven't been there, it's on you can just search it through Microsoft, look for Learning Tools. It has lots of a good video here, but then down below it has lots of sections that really explain the different learning tools to you really well. And then it has little bars that say learn more, little hyperlinks, little buttons. So you might want to go there and check it out if this is something that's of interest to you. So we're going to do this together in just a second, but in the Immersive Reader, you can pick your text size, the word spacing, the font, the contrast color. You can do the syllabic separation, parts of speech highlighting, all these different things to help with syllabication. And you can use different things like a picture dictionary. So to show you how that works, you can do it in Word Online. You can do it in almost anything anymore. The new Chromium Edge has Immersive Reader built in, and even Flipgrid has Immersive Reader built in. And if you start looking for the symbol, you'll go, oh, that's Immersive Reader. So let me just come back out of this and let me go to a couple of my tabs. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my desktop with you instead so that you can see. Find it right here. And make sure you're seeing it. There you go. I think you see it. So I'm going to go into a couple of these things and show you how they work and just let you kind of experiment. So if you want to open up, honestly, you could open up almost anything you want to right now, a Word document, you could open up a OneNote, whatever works for you. But if you're in a document and you're even in Edge, like right now, I'm going to show you an awesome one that I love. And this kind of does a dual duty. This one has, it has wildfires in it, and it has ads and all kinds of things. So I'm going to show you this in a minute, how to get rid of all the busyness. But I'm going to go to Word right here. And in Word, let me close that because that's a preview of coming attractions. I can then show you, you know, we have different things here that we always use. We have you know, I can go to the view, I can see different things. And when I'm in view, look at what I have. I have a reading view. So if there was a lot of stuff here, I would only see the main document. But because there's not really anything there that would be a problem, let me just go back and get it. Come on, come back. There we go. So it wouldn't be a problem because that's just a document. But if I had brought in a PDF or something that had a lot of busy things, I could use the reading view. But what I want to show you now, if I go to view and go to immersive reader in Word, but you can find it almost anywhere with that little book with the speaker. What it does, it immediately opens it up like this. And now I see it in a different view. I see it with, you know, spread out. And if I want to, what I can do, and I'm not sure you'll hear it, but you can do it on yours as well. Hopefully you'll hear it just through my speaker, but if not, you trust me and do it on yours. I can play this where it will read it. So it was reading it to me, whether you could hear it or not, I'm not sure. But what I wanted to show you is as I hover over something like dog, and I don't know what it is, that's when my picture dictionary pops in. And I can even click this little icon, it'll say the word. Then I hover over cat, same thing. So words like that then bring up images. So anytime somebody's learning something and there's something like a noun that they could click on that's in the picture library dictionary, then it will show that. And then it will go on and read to you. The other thing you can do right here in voice settings, you can change the speed. Do you want it to be fast? Do you want it to be slow? Depending on who it is and how fast or slow they can comprehend it. Do you want it to be a male or a female? So you have lots of options there. Sometimes you have even more options than that, like we have an Australian reading to us when we look at the Aussie wildflowers. I can go to the text preferences right here. And here I can change the text size. I can also increase the spacing or leave it low. So that's spaced out farther to make it easier to distinguish the words. I can change fonts, and these fonts have been known to be good ones for students with dyslexia. That's why there are only 3 here. I can change the color scheme. So just going through these different things and playing with the different choices. And there are even more options down here in color schemes. So looking at the problem, a visual problem someone might have, and then looking at the options you have to address those. Let me move this out of the way. And then I can show the source formatting if I want to. But moving on across the top of this, now I have grammar options. And this is really fun. Like now I can separate it into syllables. So you can put something really simple here for students and at a young age, just a few sentences, and they could try to mark the syllables up with their pen or draw tool or something, or you could just let them look at it and then they can check it right there at the syllabication. I can turn nouns on. So even in something like persuasive writing with higher grade students, you might have them look for those nouns. look for the nouns that are being used in this persuasive writing. Or let's see what kind of adjectives they used in this to help with their case, because now the adjectives are green and I can change the colors to be what I want. Here are my verbs. I can look at all my verbs. Here's my adverbs. And I can show the labels like adverb. So here's my parts of speech. If I turn them all on, I've now almost diagrammed a sentence. So I could look at sentence structures too. So lots of ways to use that. You should turn all these off so we don't have to look at all these again. There they go. And then in here, this is another really good tool for struggling readers, is that I have the line focus. So I can read one line at a time. And then when it's reading to me, it's going to take that and it's going to just show me one line at a time. So I'm not getting lost in the huge picture of text. You would turn your picture library on and off here, and this is cool too. It will even translate for you. So it could translate within Immersive Reader. You can have it transferred. It will translate. That's a good question. I'm looking here at the questions that you can't do it in, and it may be only online. Let me look at my Word because I'm online. And that's a good conversation to have, because honestly, Microsoft's big goal is to have the online experience the exact same as the desktop app experience. Yes, and it's not all there yet. So yet is the key word. Hopefully it will be soon. And that with the future that will happen. But what you'll find is it's like, why can't I find this in the desktop app? And for instance, maybe the research tool. And you can't find it there, but then maybe it's in the online web app. So not now. And I don't know that it is in here. That's a really good question. I hadn't ever noticed it before. So you would just have to go across, and here's view. Oh, it's in view. Look right here in view. View, and then Immersive Reader. So if I go to view and Immersive Reader, there it is right there. It looks a little different, and the options in different programs, different apps are different depending on which ones you go to. So hopefully that'll help you there, but it's here in this desktop app too. I don't know that the picture library is here. I don't see that one. So you'll just have to kind of compare and see what's best. But they have, sometimes the desktop apps may have more functionality because it hasn't transitioned to the cloud. Yes, and Microsoft's really focused on the Office 365 cloud experience because that's where most of us live. And therefore, often they'll release them there too, first. And it's already connected with the web, so it's already using that artificial intelligence, which is really good. So wanted you to see that. Yeah, that was a good point that it wasn't there. So that's good. All righty, let's go back now to the presentation for a minute. I'm going to hide all these and try and get it where you're not seeing so much. Get rid of this one. I don't think we need that one anymore. And we don't need, that's there for a reason. We'll see in a minute. So let me pull up my PowerPoint here again. I know we're full screen, so let me just get it again. And we'll be good to go if it'll come. Come on. You know what? It's the sharing that's not liking it, but it's here somewhere. So we may have to stop sharing for a second. Let me find it. There it is. Now we're back. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like this for a minute while we're going through these next slides, because I'm going to be toggling back and forth so much. I think it'd be easier just to leave it like this for a little bit, and then I'll toggle back and forth rather than make you dizzy the other way. So there are learning tools in Word Online, and there are some like we saw in the regular document. However, there are more sometimes in one place than the other. That's what we talked about. Another great tool for students, and sometimes for us, as we all get used to using Cortana and Siri and Alexa and everything else, is Dictate. So several of the apps now have Dictate in them. You can see it's even here in my slides, but I'm going to take that away because I really don't want to be dictating in my slides. So I'll come back to my Chromium browser and bring this up again. And so here I am in like OneNote. Let me get home. And right here in OneNote, I can go straight to Dictate. But this is in many of the apps. So I will click here. I really enjoy talking with you all today. I hope you get something to use with your students, period. And that was really bad. Let me try it again. I wasn't in it. Oh, you know what it is? I know what it is. Hold on. Did you know you can also dictate in other languages? That was in French, and I was speaking my Southern drawl, which didn't help. So let me put it in English. I am glad you joined me today, period. There you go. That was better. Now let's do it in French and see how it compares. Now, knowing that another language and my accent and everything else and no digital tool is perfect. You know, foreign language teachers will probably cringe right now, but it is an option. Hello. I hope you're doing well today. Oh, I think I left it in. Yeah, let's go to French. We did. Okay, let me try one more time. It worked better before. Let me speak clearly. Good morning. How are you today? Yeah, it's being really slow translating. And I think part of that is just because everything is gone off my computer when I'm presenting, because a while ago I did it and it was like the perfect angel. So I think it has to do with all everything I'm doing on the web right now on the network. But you have the ability to dictate. You have the ability to also dictate in other languages. So dictate is in Word. It's in a lot of these different documents. And that's yet one more way that you can provide a different experience for students that are going to have trouble writing. Now they can dictate. And it allows for composition without the frustrations. And I showed you how to even translate for you. So that is available for you as well. Another thing for for inclusive classrooms and really helping students with any kind of accessibility needs is making sure we're providing regular feedback. I think that's really important for any student, and even more so now that we aren't in the same room with them. You know, when we're in this distance education situation, we need to be giving them lots of feedback however we can. I know my friend, Dr. Janelle White-Taylor, I've talked about in a couple of these before, teaches undergrad classes at Arizona State, and how she gives her feedback sometimes, because it's so time consuming, is she'll go out for her walk and be recording on her phone. And then has quick little snippet videos for kids sometimes. But there are lots of ways you can embed feedback videos and different documents. You can use Flipgrid. And another great way to provide feedback is journal responses in things like OneNote. So in this OneNote, the students submitted their work, and now they've used you just use your digital pen and you draw on it and just leave your feedback. And there are other tools to provide you the opportunity to leave audio feedback or even a video feedback if you need to, but that's an option way to really support those students as well. And a new thing that's coming out, and let me see if I can get this going for you, is the researcher tool, because the researcher tool, like I told you, is sort of new. So let me go back to my Word, and I did close that, didn't I? I shouldn't have, but let me see if I can get really quick in my history. It should be there. But if I go back to my history and pull up my Word again, here we go. So in my Word document, there's something called the researcher tool. And it's the researcher tool and the review tool are there, but I want to show you actually the review tool as well. So when I'm over here, notice the editor right here on the right. If I click editor, I get this is the new part. I'm under home and I click editor. And what it is doing in this one, it is actually looking at my document and giving me some really good feedback. So to me, this is good for almost every student. It's giving you scores on clarity, conciseness, formality, inclusiveness, punctuation, sensitive geopolitical references, vocabulary. It tells me my readability, my district words, how long it would take someone to read it, how long it would take it silently, how long it would take them to research or to speak it. So there's some really cool things here that I think are of great value. So looking at that is, you know, one option. I'm trying to think what else is along here that might be of interest to you. But if you look carefully, you'll find things like here's that accessibility. Remember what I told you could have accessibility? So we can check accessibility here. So here it says to make it accessible, select and fix these issues. Well, there's no issues in this one. Or it would have told me right here in this pane exactly what issues I had. So accessibilities is good. You can always do comments for feedback like we talked about. And here again, we have the translate tool. So I could translate this whole document and I could choose it to translate into a different language from auto detect to, let's see what we'll do today. We're going to do French again and translate it. And it takes a little bit and it's going to open it. And there it is in French. So students who get work from you or have something, you know, that they're doing, that's a really good way to have them access it if they're in a different language, if they're not native English speakers. So I love that. I think that's a great tool. Let me see what else might be across the top for you in that Word doc. I keep closing the Word document, don't I? Go back to that again. Don't you love history? There's also a shortcut for doing that. I think it's Shift-T, I can't remember. Okay, so we've done that. We've looked at references. We don't need that. I'm just seeing if there's anything else here that might be of interest. Because we just looked at that one. And here's the view. Reading view again is here. Immersive reader is here again, like we looked at before. And then we can, of course, toggle to the desktop app and look at it there and see if there's anything different, because there are differences between the two. Let's try again. I think it was already up, and that's why. So here's my desktop app in it, and now I can see other things that are available as well. And like we said, it does have that. I'm trying to see if there's anything else different here that you might want to do. Another thing that's good is ink to edit, ink editor, ink to shape, and ink math. So those are things that can sometimes be helpful too. If you haven't used those, you can write something and then it will make it into text. Or you can draw a picture, like a freehand draw a circle. Let me draw a circle. Then I take my select and I highlight it and I tell the ink it to shape. It didn't like that one, but it will normally. I just did a really bad job. And you can do the same with ink to math. So those are great. Those are available in other programs as well. As you look at things like PowerPoint, they're also available there. So I think we've kind of covered that. And I'm going to go back to some of the other things that are here and just put this away. But see, here's read aloud for this. That's another great tool. So if you have something here, it will read to your students. They can actually look at it, and for younger students or students that are having reading problems, that's a great tool as well. And maybe for us, if we're tired, we might just want it to read to us rather than to read it ourselves. So let me put that away down here in case I went again, since I keep going back for it anyway. And alrighty, let me look here now what else we have in our presentation, because that's kind of where we are right now. And we've gone through that, and then there's this new researcher tool that you can also get to, and that's a really good one that's in that's available for you. And then there's that new editor that I showed you, the editor pre-pane. So that may not be in everyone's Word document, but it is there. And this is what the editor pane looks like. It just gives you more information and all the different things about how to fix writing issues. So as you're looking at it and it says you do have a writing issue, you can expand it and it'll really give you some detailed information on it. So we're looking at knowledge. And before I go any farther, any questions on any of that? Let me just stop for a second. And let me make this bigger so you're not dizzy again. And actually, I can do this for us. There was a reason I wasn't using it in this view, but I will do that for us right now. All righty, so looking at the legend of the Loch Ness Monster, and of course, as soon as I did that view, I need to show you something. When you give a student an assignment such as this, to look at a web page, and there's so many distractions. It's so difficult for them to focus on the article when we can see there's a Tween Tribune store with fossils and, oh, wow, what's happening Monday? You know, that's kind of how their brains work. And sometimes we do that too. I mean, there's words for that. You know, you're going to look at the web on one thing and all of a sudden you spent 30 minutes looking at other things. So how do you get them to focus on something like that? And how do you get them to focus on the task at hand? And so here's that Australia article again. And it has some junk in it too. There's STEM, there's some other stories, and I might start looking at those. But like I told you, this icon up here in the menu bar is right here. So there's my reading view icon. It's at the top. And if you go to any web page right now in the Edge Chromium browser, you should see that. And if you click it, it takes it right back out. And now all I have is the reading view. So now I can see exactly just the article and the information in the article. And no longer do I have to look at all the things with it. I can also have it read aloud to me. I can change the text preferences. I can change the reading preferences with align focus again if I want to. I have my grammar tools here. So I have a lot of those same learning tools that are similar to the immersive reader that are right here available in the Chromium browser. And then I can also capture this and send this to my kids in OneNote or something so that they don't have to go to the website and see that. You're going to distribute it in another way where it's already created like this, which is really awesome. So I want you to see Australia's reading tools. And I don't know that you can hear me, but her voice is lovely. Her voice is actually Australian, very Australian accent. So I want to show you that one because I think that's also a great one. And I know I'm jumping, but I really like for you to see it live, and then maybe you can play with it live as well.
Could you show
rather
us
than me just doing it all?
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, go ahead.
Could you show us? You said you can put that page right into OneNote. So how would you?
Let me go back and see what the options are. This is the new Chromium, and I know how to do it in the old one. Let's see if I can find it in the new one. You just wanted me to use my history again, didn't you? Because I'm being really good about using my history. All right, so let me go because I know that it's also available in Windows 10. So if we go here, and then I think it's over here. Let me look because there used to be a way to distribute it, and I told you that, and now I may have to look for it. But there was a way, and if anybody knows, tell us because there's a way to add it. What's this one? Welcome to collections. You can organize your browser. But I know, and I said that because it is in the old one, but this is the brand new Chromium browser. They just launched this. And so I know in the previous version of Edge, it was right up in here where I could actually send it. So if it's not here now, then I think it will be soon. But I would, let's see what happens if we just copy that. Let's do this too. Let's do a incognito window in Edge and see if it comes through with just that information. A private window that doesn't recognize we're already here, and just paste it and see what happens. Yeah, so if you save that web link, that would also, you just push that web link out. That would work. But there used to be in Windows 10 a way up there to do it that way. And I guess it's just not there yet because it's new. But as long as you copy that link, then you're good. So Chromium browser was just really funny. And you know where they got the name, don't you? Yeah, you do. So it's more like a Chrome experience, and it's their new Edge browser. So Microsoft started using Edge with Windows 10 when it came out, and it went through several iterations, and now they have this Chromium Edge browser that is much more user-friendly and gives you more of an experience like the Chrome browser would if you're comparing them. So when I'm mentioning the Chromium browser, it's just a new version of the Edge browser. And if you don't have it, you can certainly download it. It has a different icon in the taskbar. It just looks a little different. Other questions? Anybody doing something related to this that they'd like to share their experience? Because I'd love to hear it.
Okay. I just figured out how to set up two profiles in Chrome, and I'm using them good. Now, do I have to do the same in Chromium, like with my personal and school?
I think it actually, you can do that, and I have not done that, but Alice did that, and she said it was working great. So I don't know, but you should be able to. I mean, you don't have to. It's not like you're on a Chromebook. where it's taking everything from your profile. So you can just use it as it is. You don't have to have any profile in there. But if you're going to be going into, you know, different parts of the micro ecosystem with it, where you want to recognize your login, that might be a benefit if you want to save everything, but I don't know if it's going to make a big difference in the way you're saying.
Okay, thank you.
Because I've used it and I don't think I've logged into it. And so that's still, we've already done that. So you can also write up on this. So someone's, you know, this is another example of using the drawing tools that are becoming so popular with everyone for that feedback as well. I think that's why I got stuck in the wrong place. But using Translator, and I'm going to jump out of this again because I want you to see what Translator looks like in PowerPoint. If you've never done this, and to do that, I have to change my setting for PowerPoint. Okay, so whoops, didn't need to do that. Didn't need to move her. So, and then I deleted her. Goodness. Okay, well, just I think I jumped is what I did. Now that's not even the right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's get back to where I actually was. There we go. I want to show you that I'm going to go to my slideshow, and I want to go to, let me think where it is, custom slideshow, I believe, custom settings. Nope, not that one. Setup slideshow, thank you. Setup slideshow, and I'm going to do it as a full speaker. So I'm changing it now. So the way I've been presenting it to you, which I just, you know, love, is if I'm presenting to you on this and it's set up as a window, browse by an individual window, like you see at the top there. I don't know if I can make this any bigger for you to see it. I can't. But if I set it up that way, then what's really nice is I can still access my other windows and see who's in chat, but all you're seeing is the PowerPoint, which is what I've been doing. Where if I do it as a full screen, it changes. But I wanted to see what happens if I do it as a full screen and I'm going to start the subtitles. So I can pick, do I want English to go to, we'll do Spanish this time. So if I'm in a highly Hispanic neighborhood or area, I might want it to use my microphone, and it's going to load it up. And it may take a minute, but then as I'm speaking, it will actually translate it to a different language. So if you were doing a presentation to an audience that's full of a lot of Hispanic parents, you can then go on and present, and at the same time, let's see if it'll do it. It's never taken 5 minutes. I'm telling you it's because I'm broadcasting, because usually it pops right up. Let's just see if it'll let me do it without even doing the language. Okay, let's just do next. Now it's gone, I did it there. So, but it will pop right up, and then as I'm presenting full screen, oh, it's starting them after it told me it wouldn't do it. I saw it start. There we go. Now, isn't that weird? So at least I wasn't a total failure. You're seeing them. So as I'm talking and giving my presentation, and if you have kids, a majority of our kids that are from a different area and don't speak English well, this is going to help them maybe better understand your presentation. Yes, and if it's not too much for them to follow the text and follow you and follow the visuals. So that's just something you'll have to look at. But another way this can be done is with an app. So if they have the app on their phone, the parents can actually pick the language they want to hear you talking in. So they have the ability to do that as well. So I want you to see that, because I love the way that they're building all these translator apps into everything so that we have the ability to use those. And so with your phone, then this kind of shows you what it would look like. You can join a conversation, start a conversation on the desktop, and then you'd have the mobile ability. Is anybody using Office Lens? Because people love Office Lens. And it is a great tool. It's an app for your phone. And whatever you take, you know, for teachers, if you take a picture of something and it's all skewed like you're scanning something, it will actually then take it and it will take that document and straighten it for you. So if you take your neighbors, a picture of your neighbors in the next room bulletin board, it will actually straighten it for them, which is really nice. So that's a good way to use it. But then for accessibility, they can take pictures and it'll go into their Word, OneNote, PowerPoint, and it'll translate. It'll have read aloud, it would translate, it'd have text spacing, text options. So Office Lens is a really cool app if you've never used it for different things. It's a good one to use for you and also for your students. And then I want to just take you briefly into that Chromium browser again and show you, or in the Windows 10, I'm sorry, not Chromium browser, and go to settings, because I want to walk you through some of the settings here. Let me make a full screen for you. So when you're in the settings of Windows 10, if you go in here and look for ease of access, those are your settings that you can use. And when you're in ease of access in Windows 10, you have a bunch of settings coming down the side. So you just go through them and look at them, like your display. You want your text bigger. And as we get a little bit not so young, was that a nice way to say it? We can make the text bigger on our computer if we want to. And we can change everything bigger if we want. We can make everything brighter. That's what I like. And you can simplify different things, show transparency, all kinds of notifications, things, preferences there. Then with your cursor and pointer, you have the same types of things there. And then a magnifier, which is really good for students with visual problems because now they can magnify and look at things in a larger way. So if I turn it on right now, it's much bigger. And I can use keyboard shortcuts, or I can make it small again or keep going up and down. And I'll turn it back off. And everything has, of course, individual preferences you can go with. Color filters. So if I wanted to, I could take colors off and just make it grayscale or something. I can provide high contrast. I can use the narrator that's reading everything to me. I had students in a class years ago that loved to turn that on, so Mrs. Reed would have to go back and turn it all off again because everything was being read. And then there's audio. So I can change the volume if I want mono. I can have visual alerts for kids that really need the visual alerts if they have real visual problems. Closed captions, everything. If you just go through here, talk instead of type, going through all these things gives you all kinds of options under that Windows 10 settings to control everything up to the point of even eye contact control for those who are severely disabled. So I want you to see that because I think, we don't realize how much is actually built right into the program itself when we're working in something like that. And so I took you there. Another thing when you're doing your presentations is think about, this is what I like to do, I can edit it while I'm sitting here. Think about how you present what do your screens look like? As you're presenting to your kids, what colors are the text? Do they need a higher contrast? And especially kids with any kind of problems. So making it visually clean, making it easily read. And again, that accessibility checker is right there in PowerPoint. But using things in your documents too. Think about headers, thinking about breaking down, and I talk about this all the time, chunking assignments, putting assignments and videos in small pieces. That really helps. So anything you do like that, chunk it and put it in small pieces. And we're almost done. Let me show you this graphic, which I love, and see. It's hard for you to read, but when I send you if you want the PowerPoint, when I send it to you, you'll have it. But it really shows you the differences in some of the ways you can support learning in an inclusive classroom by, going through this infographic. I looked for lots of graphics to share with you, and this was the one I liked the best. So I thought you might be interested in seeing that. I'm trying to see if I missed anything else here. Oh, I know what I missed. I haven't shown you one other really good option that actually one of my attendees showed me when I was in doing one of the trainings. And on the web version of PowerPoint, let me go over here and come back to the web again. And I happen to have one open right here. There's something called Rehearse with Coach. And I don't know if you've ever seen that. And I've obviously seen it, but never really noticed it. And so if I go to the web version of PowerPoint and I go to Rehearse with Coach, what happens is, come on, there we go. Rehearse with Coach. It's going to pop up like this. And for students who are learning to present, and maybe even for you, the students who are learning to present, they're going to give you feedback about your presentation style, if you're using words over and over. And as a presenter, it's really funny. I was talking to a friend the other day. When you present all the time, you kind of know how to talk. And then all of a sudden you'll go, oh my gosh, why do I keep saying this phrase 5 times today? You catch yourself. And so what this does is help you if you're catching yourself doing things like that. Or it'll tell you if and I'm going to purposely do a bad job here, so you'll see it. So I'm going to go ahead and click start rehearsing, and I've just hit twice. So lesson design for distance learning. And see, it's already telling me not to use any fillers like it's giving me feedback. So this is my next slide. So I'm going to keep using the word so and see if it sees so. I don't know if it's going to see so. And then I'll pause. I'm just doing crazy things. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, this is weird. Okay. Well, I think this is the first step. And as I talk, oh yeah, yeah, this is blended learning. And okay, now I really know what this tool is, so I do it fast and see if they can understand it. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm just stopping now. Done. So as I stop presenting, what it's going to pop up and give me, oh, maybe I stopped it wrong. Okay, here's what I need to do. I need to play it down here. And you lost it, so let me show it to you. Why did you lose it? Let me find you, because you turned into me. So let me escape. I want you to see the report it gives me. Okay. I think I just have to hit escape. That's what it was. But let me get you back because I lost your screen there. Let me just get the screen back for you. So when you're done, because I didn't finish it, I just hit escape. And let me go back to my presentation now, which is here. And I think, there you go. So when I hit escape, I get this rehearsal report. Good job rehearsing. You avoided reading the slide text out aloud. No sensitive phrases. 130 words a minute. My pitch went up and down. To sound more polished, quit saying and So you see how it can be used though for students. So they can kind of see how they could be improving what they're doing, improving their presentation skills, and probably something we could use for ourselves. And as long as I'm here, let me also show you this, the single line ribbon. Anytime this ribbon up here, this is toolbar in Microsoft, if you're not used to that phrase. The toolbar up here is called the ribbon. And you can change it to be full, or what they call a simplified ribbon, or the single line ribbon. So for younger children, you might want the simplified ribbon in like Word or OneNote or something. And then for older ones, you might want to have this, the regular ones. So if ever you're in here and you're going, mine doesn't look like that, it's probably because that's turned on. And so it's going to refresh this page and you'll see the difference, because now I won't see all the same options. I'll have more of the a more simplistic view of everything, and it goes back and forth. So actually that's the one that's more, yeah, that I turned the simplified ribbon off. So that's the more better ribbon. And then here's the simplified. So for instance, the other day I was like showing, though I just used the word like, see, it should have caught me. I was showing designer in my presentation and how I'll give you design thoughts for your PowerPoints. And it wasn't there because I had the simplified ribbon on. So you always have to think about, okay, why isn't it here? Does it need to be in the Word document? The desktop app? Is it in the cloud app? Should it be somewhere else? Just thinking back and forth about all the options that could be in there. I think I made myself quit saying there. I think we've hit most of this already. I don't know that there's anything else here that I haven't kind of touched or covered in some way. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint for a minute. And I'm going to present it. Stop presenting and present it full screen. Get it going. And then we'll kind of close, and then I will absolutely stay for questions, however many you'd like. It'd be totally fine with me. And let me change this so I'm not seeing, so I can still get to my screen. Just give me 1 second. Set up slideshow. There we go. Rise by a window. And here it goes. And then I can I just said again. Now I'm catching myself say things. Okay, so let me get the presentation shared with you again. All right, now. And we'll kind of close out that and then just have conversations. So here it comes. There you go. That's the infographic that gives you all the accessibility information that kind of gives you some ideas. But if you also look at their learning tools site for Microsoft, they have a lot there. There are a lot of links. There's a couple links here, and all you really have to do is search Microsoft inclusiveness or inclusivity or inclusive classroom or Microsoft accessibility. And while these are wonderful tools, I will say yes, and all the different publishers right now are building accessibility tools into everything. However, I love what Microsoft's done with learning tools, and I haven't seen that done the same way with the reading view that we can do, and the whole thing with syllabication and nouns and verbs and speeds, and they've made it, the immersive reader they've made it really easy for us to use that for all kinds of learners. So that's really it for today. That was pretty much all we were going to cover. I'm going to put my slide back up here. And then I just want to open it up for any questions you might have or anything that, if you have tips on things that are working with your kids, please share them. I'd love to hear them. Okay, I have a chat question. You can open your mics and answer too. Which one would be better for the students, the simplified or single? Well, simplified and single are the same. It just depends which program you're in, which name they're using. So sometimes in one program, like in Word, it might say one word or one phrase, and in PowerPoint, it might be another. So they'd be the same. Yes, I can share it. And let me get my, I'm going to do, I'll find my, while we're talking, I'm going to get the form for you to use to submit. That's the easiest way, because I could have you email me, but I learned long ago through this process that was a really slow way to gather it. So let me just get that form for you. So let me go on, and anybody have a question, then I'll go back to the chat for you. Or any tips and tricks, just open your mic and share them with us. We'd love to hear them. I almost have the form now. Let me see what else is here for you in the chat. Okay, here's my presentation request. It didn't take long, I found it. So I'm going to put the link in the chat, and then you can request the presentation that way, and then it takes me 1 second to send them to you rather than 20 minutes. So there, now let me go back. That's my link to the forum. Yeah, it's funny that a lot of people really don't know much about someone wants to see that last slide. Let me go back. Don't know much about these learning tools and how awesome they are. And so that's what I said. I need to change the name because people think, is it this one? Is that the slide you want? Is that it, Suzanne?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, people don't think don't think of accessibility as something you can use in your classroom, but it absolutely is. All right, let me see what else. I'm a teacher in UK working in secondary, college educational. What is the most effective method for delivering feedback to students? You're adding comments, using the assignment facility and Teams. I think that's great. I think that you can also, mark it up with your drawing tool, and there's stickers in there, and OneNote if you're using OneNote, because you can use your stylus, and if you have an interactive screen to do that with, and then throw a sticker in there. If it depends on your age, your kids are older, so secondary and college. You know what? And Janelle's classes, like I said, she's using audio. Quick little recordings, and you can do that in OneNote too. You can leave a video recording or an audio recording with feedback. You have to be in the desktop app for the video, but you can do the audio in the cloud, Office 365. Flipgrid, you might change it up. I think changing up feedback is good. Maybe sometimes they submit a feedback it's like they submit a Flipgrid that's a reflection, and then you give them feedback on that, what you did. But I think, using a rubric is good for the higher grades like that. always having a rubric that really points to what you want them to do, leaving them text feedback, but I think audio feedback and video during distance learning is really important. You know, I know that we need to keep connecting with our kids. So any way we can connect, and even if it's a couple sentences. I took a motivation class in my master's program years ago, and it was proven in research that no feedback is worse than even negative feedback. So providing any feedback, and so when I'm grading my graduate students, and mine are master's students that are teachers, when I'm grading and assessing them, I kill myself with feedback sometimes to the point that I have to make myself stop because I know how important it is. I know how hard they each worked on everything they did. And so I feel like I need to give them some feedback. And it's time consuming, but find quick ways to do it, just like Janelle does on our walk. She just does a quick video and then posts the video somewhere for them. So find little quick ways to do it because that's in her undergrad classes that she's doing that. And it's important for all kids, you know, having some kind of feedback and then continuing the group work too. So any other questions or ideas of things that you're doing that you are implementing that have been successful for you? I'm here and I know our time's up 3 minutes. We're 3 minutes early. That's the first one I've been early for. But I'm happy to stay and answer any questions you might have. If not, if you get ready to, you know, drop off, that's totally fine. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for coming, and keep checking back for some of the other opportunities to participate in these as well. Yeah, Will for Carl's during teams. That's awesome. That's really good. And sometimes, like in a session I did on Flipgrid a little while ago, it's like just to check in with your kids. You know, give me a 30-second Flipgrid on how you're feeling, or a minute, or give me a, let's have a quick just today, let's just talk about how we're doing, you know, and that may be small groups. It may be large groups, you know, like a class, but sometimes break them into small groups and have those conversations. Sure. You know what, if you want there wasn't much in that Flipgrid presentation, Michael, but go on and just fill out another form there and just put the Flipgrid one there, or email me, either way. So there's in the link for the form is there, and I'll put my keyboards email here too, because that's just one that's easy if you just want to email me. So enjoy, go play with some of those. I think you'll find that they're really awesome. And you notice I have closed captions going on. I don't know if you're seeing them because I'm not, but they are going on. I'm going to go on and stop the recording. Yeah, all of a sudden on my screen I kind of froze, so I'm not sure.